now 3 for 3 for different facial hairs with every video I drop. Let's see if there's a new one by the time the next video drops. Anyway, let's talk about Aquaman. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say this is going to be a review of the first Aquaman, mostly. I am going to be talking about both Aquaman movies, but the second one is way worse and much more forgettable, so most of it's going to be centered around the first one. Now, the interesting thing about the Aquaman movies is that they're equal parts terrible and enjoyable. It's not quite on the same level as something like The Room, where it's just a terrible masterpiece, but it's also not as soulless as something like The Rise of Skywalker, where it's like completely devoid of enjoyment and you're just like dead watching it. In a few scenes, you can actually tell that they put some effort into these movies. Which brings me to my first point. The action. Now, not all the action in Aquaman is great. Most of it's actually kind of whatever. But in a few scenes, it really clicks. There's this great fight sequence in Italy where the camera work is super fluid and engaging and just draws you in and forces you to look at like this great location and the great set design. And there's this sequence where this Aqua Soldier, he's running and he just tanks through like 5 different walls in a row, and the camera follows him through as he's running through these houses. And you can see inside the people's houses, and you can see the people inside the houses watching him run by, and you can see all the stuff inside their house, and it all feels very lived in. And then he like jumps through the roof, and then he's chasing Aquaman on the roof, and then they're crashing through all these other houses. And then Black Manta's there, and he like shoots this big base beam, and it hits this church bell, and the church bell goes flying, and that's crashing through a bunch of different roofs. And then the church bell goes flying, and it's about to hit this dumb kid who's just like standing there and won't get out of the way. It's like, I hate when it happens in movies. And Aquaman just runs in and like shoulder checks it, and the bell makes the big Taco Bell noise. And just describing that was fun, but watching it was even more fun. And for a brief moment, it felt like blockbuster cinema was actually living up to its potential. And they do this in a couple of different scenes. It's not just like one sequence out of this really bad movie. Like, they do this a couple times. There was effort throughout. It feels like there's actually passion. And the story kind of sucks, but there's a few bright spots that kind of just wake you up and make you appreciate the hard work that these people put into this movie that maybe they didn't even believe was going to be that good. Which brings me to my next point: props and costumes. I'm not even joking when I say that I actually kind of love the costumes in this movie and the designs in general. The Aqua Soldier, I love the design of their armor. It's like all curved and studded, kind of like a seashell would be, but it also looks like a spacesuit, but filled with water for being on land. And I love the technology too. It's all like so smooth and curved and often porcelain, again, like a seashell, and it's powered by water, this like weird laser technology. And I actually like that they give an explanation for why Black Manta has this big goofy ass helmet. It's because he needs more space to fit the laser or whatever, and it's, it's kind of funny. And even the comic accurate suits look pretty cool, which is, generally pretty hard to do in superhero movies. Like Aquaman's classic costume, you can if you zoom in on it, you can see all the little scales and stuff that make it up, and that looks kind of cool. Ocean Master's suit, like, he straight up looks like a goofy 80s He-Man villain brought to life, and I kind of have to admire that. And then there's the fish people. Oh my god, I love the fish people. I'm so glad they got their whole little extended sequence. It's, low-key kind of out of place for the movie, but I'm glad they kept it in, because it's one of the cooler moments from the movie. It has that, that really cool shot where they're going down. It looks really cool. What really, really sucks is maybe, just maybe, Aquaman actually could have been good. I feel like with this creative team, they were already working some magic in what was already kind of a shitty movie. But Imagine how good all of those cool Aquaman VFX, all those cool props, all those cool costumes would have been if it was inside an actual good movie. I think if this movie had been something else, if it had been just like a goofy 80s action adventure movie, like that didn't bear the Aquaman name and it was just something else, it would actually be pretty cool. Now, up until this point, I've been pretty generous to Aquaman. Like, if you're seeing this review and if you stopped watching it right now, you might walk away with, Aquaman sounds pretty good. I might go watch it. Don't do that. You need to have friends with you to laugh at this movie, because seeing it by yourself may kill you because of how stupid it is. Which brings me to my next point. The dumb, goofy shit. There are so many things about Aquaman that are bad. Bad acting, bad dialogue, bad story, bad pacing. All of it just terrible. But these things kind of make it enjoyable too. Especially if you're in the company of friends and loved ones and you're cracking jokes about it the entire time. Then it's almost like you're watching a good movie. The story itself, very predictable, which gets very boring. If the movie took itself serious 100% of the time, I would have fallen asleep. But then, a dumb moment like this happens.
Hey! You need to live so you can kill that son of a bitch!
Are you saying they executed her? Because she had me?
One of my favorite dumb, goofy moments from Aquaman is this part where they have the battle between Aquaman and Ocean Master, and then they actually pull up stats. They have stats. Like, they're clearly for the audience, but, like, who in the crowd is seeing that? Like, especially if it's in an arena, like, that's, like, a flat thing they're projecting. Like, you know, if you're seeing it, like, dead on like this, you're not going to understand what's happening. Look at these stats. Cons. Drunk. Pros. None. It's just so stupid. And then there's that octopus guy. He just lives down there and bangs the bongos all day and just does that whenever people are about to fight. Like, does somebody pay him? Does he live down there? And don't even get me started on the crab people. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the crab people, but like, the beginning of the movie tries to make this whole like explanation about how like Atlantean people evolved. Some evolved into cool fish people, and then some regressed into dumb crab people. And I'm like, I can accept that crab people exist, but like, don't try to tell me somebody just turned into a crab. Like, what? Like, they just did that because they lived in a trench or whatever? Like, living in a trench turns you into a crab person? Like, if you want to go the evolution route, wouldn't they all be like fish people? Like, yeah, there's like different kinds of fish people, but like crab people? Like, just say crab people exist. I can accept that. Don't tell me they used to be people. That makes no fucking sense. One of my favorite dumb moments from the second one, actually, is there's this moment where like Ocean Master is being broken out of prison and he's all like dehydrated and scrawny and ugly looking, and he takes like one toe step in the water and then boom, he instantly like regrows all his abs and becomes super strong. And I was seeing it with my friends in the theater, and my friend leans over to me and says, wouldn't it be funny if he gets sexy again and gets his abs back once he gets in the water? And then it actually happened. That's how dumb these movies are. What's also dumb are the horrible characters. If I knew nothing about Aquaman and just watched this, I would call this one of the dumbest and worst origin stories I've ever seen. I know almost nothing about Aquaman after watching this. I know that he likes beer. He likes to drink with his dad. That's like one of the only like kind of cool things about him. He likes a good slice of za.
A slice of za? Pepperoni?
I know that. I know that he likes redheads. cool. You got me there, brother. I know that he falls into the reluctant leader trope. Raise a hand if you've seen that one before. I haven't seen that a billion times already. He likes a good Guinness. And that's just the stuff I remember. Like, if Aquaman is that forgettable, if the main character is that forgettable in your movie, how do you expect me to care about his parents? The film keeps implying that they have this, like, fairy tale-esque, like, lovely relationship, but they have, like, one scene together, and it's interrupted by an explosion. Real quick, can we get a interrupted by explosion counter going?
To put Atlantis back together again.
Loyalty is to the sun.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. At the end of the movie, Aquaman's parents get together, and like the film is telling you, yay, isn't it so great? Aren't you so happy that Aquaman's parents got back together after being away for so long? They missed each other so much. Aren't you happy? I don't even know them. I don't even know what their relationship was like. Like, I don't know what it means for them to get back together. I think they were only together for like a couple months. They've been like separated for years. And like the film's like, they just loved each other so much. Like, that does nothing for me. I know nothing about them. This movie's dumb. Same thing goes for Aquaman and Mera. I don't know why they like each other, other than the fact that Aquaman thinks she's pretty. There's like this one scene where they're in Italy together and like the sun shines on her and he's like, you know, you can see on his face that he's like, yeah, she looks pretty. Then they're kissing in like the final battle sequence for some reason. Still don't know why they like each other. They spent like the whole movie hating each other, then boom, they're just kissing in the final battle. Cool. Thanks, I guess. The only thing that comes close to being kind of interesting in this movie is what they do between Black Manta and Aquaman. In addition to having one of the only really good sequences in the movie, the big fight in Italy with the church bell, Black Manta is robbing this submarine for something, I guess, and his dad's there with him. They both try to stop him, and, you know, he beats them up, like, pretty easily. And, you know, Aquaman is strong enough to the point where he can easily subdue them, knock them out or something. I don't know. But he doesn't. He just, you know, kind of toys with them. And Aquaman's about to leave, and Black Manta's dad wants to, like, kill him. And the film invents some way for Black Manta to take a shot at Aquaman, and Aquaman avoids it, and Black Manta's dad dies, and it's technically not Aquaman's fault, so you can still root for him as the good guy. But it's still morally gray enough so that Aquaman can kind of feel bad about it. And, you know, straight up, Aquaman kind of kills that guy's dad, and he could have easily saved him. And there's even a point where, like, Black Manta's like, Aquaman, save my dad! And Aquaman's like, nah. And he goes away. And then we get one of the greatest lines in cinematic history.
Hey! You need to live so you can kill that son of a bitch!
And, you know, then his dad dies and Black Manta goes away. A classic revenge plot we've seen 1,000 times. There's, like, one scene where Aquaman reflects on it. And he's like, I could have been the bigger man, but instead I made an enemy. And I guess you can say that kind of informs him not killing his brother, but he seemed pretty set on not killing his brother before as well. And they never really resolve this between Aquaman and Black Manta. Because in the second one, instead of, you know, following up on this really compelling arc, they just make Black Manta go crazy because of some magic scepter or whatever. I don't know. God forbid we have, like, some morally gray, questionable thing that our hero has to, like, deal with. No. Aquaman needs to be a relatable dad who drinks his Guinness and likes a good slice of za.
A slice of za? Pepperoni?
He drives a Harley Davidson. He has a fridge full of Guinness and baby milk. Haha, relatable. These Aquaman movies, they don't know what they want to be. They want to be like this goofy action 80s adventure movie, but they also want to be this Shakespearean epic Zack Snyder slow-mo fest. And, you know, the film suffers pretty heavily overall because of it. That same struggle of tone, I think, is what ultimately killed the DCEU. And Aquaman 2 is now officially the last film of the DCEU. So let's just, you know, take a moment in memoriam to mourn the DCEU.
You think I'll fight him for you?
Yes, I do.
Save Martha! Why did you say that name? I'll always love you, Diana, no matter where I am.
Gone, but not forgotten. So, what was the point of this video? Honestly, I just kind of wanted to rant about Aquaman, get it off my chest. I got a job working at a movie theater. I get free tickets every now and then, so I decided to go see it with some of my friends, have a couple of laughs, and, you know, it was a pretty fun time. One of my favorite quotes from an actual good movie is, "People aren't just one thing." And I think that applies to movies too. A good movie can bore me to death, and a bad movie can send me into a hysterical laughing fit. You can find enjoyment in a lot of different things. A bunch of really talented, hardworking people can work on a really shitty movie that a studio doesn't care about. So I think whenever we throw around online discourse of like, ah man, this movie sucks, everyone who worked on it did a terrible job, I think we can be a little kinder. That's about it.
Slice of za, pepperoni,